So you've decided to get into City Skylines, but you're not quite sure what it's about or how to play longer than 10 minutes without running out of money and abandoning houses everywhere. You search YouTube and all you can find are advanced tips or most efficient starting designs, but those are above your level. You've come to the right spot, my friend. I will show you the actual basics. I will explain like you are 5. This is part 3B.
Ready.
Hello world! Welcome to part 3 of my City Skylines for Dummies tutorial. This is the last part of a short series outlining the absolute basics of City Skylines. And today I will take you from the Big Town milestone, where you unlock high density zoning, all the way to the last milestone, which is Megalopolis. Megalopolis. If you are brand new to the game or want to start at the beginning, I highly suggest that you check out parts 1, 2A, and 2B. This is all vanilla, no mods, no assets. In part 2, we ended with the Big Town milestone, and that is where we will pick up now. I think that's all that you need to know. So let's get into the game. All right, do you guys want to get this population from 9,700 to 80,000 in one video? I think we can do it. Real quick, I did notice down here that this landfill site is full, so you'll see that like really ugly, dirty option pop up. Now that we have some recycling centers to process the dirty garbage. Dirty garbage? Sure. We can easily just set it to emptying, let it do its thing. So now this recycling center will take this garbage and put it into this recycling center and process it away. So in moving forward with building the city, we have an advantage because we have quite a bit of money piled up and we have an okay weekly income right now. So we are able to lay out some infrastructure and plan it ahead of time and really get things looking the way that we want it to look. We're going to do our next residential area down here. I'm just going to put the roads down. I'm going to start using these decorative roads that will help make our population more happy with that. They will level up more quickly. But yeah, let me just get some roads in, following the road hierarchy that I mentioned earlier, and then we'll start some zoning. Here is my sort of janky road layout. I tried to be funky up here. It looked a little weird and I decided just to leave it. We're not making this city pretty. If you do want to see some pretty cities out there, there will be a playlist in the info cards in the top right. Give it a click. You can learn how to do pretty things there. For now, I've got the roads. The next 2 things I need to do are doing the preemptive traffic management with this junctions tool that I taught you about. So I'm putting stop signs in at all of my T junctions. And we need to put in all of our services, and that includes water. So let me just get these put down. Okay, we have water in. Electricity we will take care of by zoning in, starting at the top and having those buildings bring the electricity down. We've put a recycling center over here, so we need to remember to not have people living nearby. We have 1 hospital right here. We have 1 cemetery right here. Police and fire, I've done 1 next to another over here. And I've put down 2 elementary schools and 1 high school, along with parks. Let's get zoning. I'm going to press go. And I'm going to start zoning in some high density housing. And as I do so, I'm going to tell you a tip. The tip is to press go before you start zoning. One thing that can really hurt you later in the game is death waves. And one way of avoiding death waves is not to zone while you're paused, because people have a tendency to zone while they're paused, and then everybody moves in all at once, and then everybody dies all at once. And it's this whole big thing. So if you're wanting to avoid future death waves, Zone while you're not on pause, preferably on a speed other than 1. I'm actually going to crank it up to 3 here because we do have a schedule to get this video out. And I'm just going to zone. This part, I will time lapse for you. So as you can see, I've started zoning up here so that we grab the power from all of these buildings and we hop it over this road and bring it down. That's how I will continue to zone. And I'm really just following the demand needs. And just like that, we hit small city. What do we unlock? It looks like we have essentially unlocked new policies, which for the basics, you don't need at all. And we've unlocked new public transit types. So really, we don't need to do any of this. Although a train would be pretty cool, being a new way of bringing people into the city. So this is the first milestone that we've hit during this video, and I'm still doing the same thing that I was doing in part 1 and parts 2A and B. I'm looking at the milestone, I'm seeing if there's anything here that is required to move our city forward. If there was a single thing here that I had to pick out that would move the city forward, it would be a train station and or a cargo train station to bring people and goods in and out of the city. But they're not a 100% necessity yet. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to continue to zone out this area following the demands down here, the green, blue, orange, until we reach the next milestone. Let's see what we can do. Over here, I have already started a bit of a shopping area, and something that I personally enjoy doing is mixing up the high and low density commercial zones. It helps a lot with looks because you get a variety, which is always nice. And if you go with more low density and less high density, you might prevent a couple problems. It will certainly help with traffic, having more low density than high density. It will help with the balance of educated versus non-educated workers. Let's compare these two buildings. So this is a low density building. You can see it up here. And it needs 1 uneducated worker, 2 educated, and 1 well-educated. Now, if we compare that to a high-density commercial building, you can see the numbers are much more skewed into the highly educated area, right? Let's continue to zone. While not on pause, I'm going to speed it up to level 2 this time and continue to zone in some high-density housing. One thing to notice is that I'm not zoning the housing along the 4-lane roads. And while I don't mind zoning housing right beside low-density commercial, I do keep my housing away from any high-density commercial. The noise pollution with high density gets pretty loud, and people in your housing will not like that. They'll get sick, they'll complain, and they'll either die or leave. It looks like we have a few shops that are complaining about not enough educated workers. There's not an immediate fix for this. As we are growing our population, we just need to make sure that in our education tab up here top left, we have the availability that we need in the elementary school and the high school in order to prep these new students going into university. Wow, and our university capacity is actually too low. Let's go check on our university. We are using the campus DLC. But look at how few people are actually going to the university down here. So our capacity is 1,600 or so, but we only have 300 people attending the university. This shows us that the capacity is not really the issue right now for specifically the university. The issue is just people getting through the education system, which takes time, and managing the lower level education's capacity. What I'm going to do, just to preemptively make sure that this is all okay, is I'm going to put down this community school just for a little bit of variance. I'll put it over here where I'm currently zoning, and that'll help. When you see something like this, if it's small and contained like this, there are a few problems here, but when it's mostly contained, don't stress about it. Don't let it freak you out. Usually the game just needs some time to balance itself. Over here by the school, I'm going to zone some low density housing just to keep that mix that I was talking about earlier, as well as the high density. While we are waiting for people to come in and level up and do all the things, I noticed that leave a thumbs up is level 4. We started this park in episode 2B, and we might as well let it get up to level 5. It's actually making us an income, which is great. About a $700 a week income. So let's go into our parks. This was a city park, if I remember correctly. It would have given us new buildings, like the climbing frame, and let's put it down up here. Seems great. And a reminder for how we are tackling these DLCs that level up and you have to work with them leveling up and all that. It's so similar to the milestones. Look at the info page, look at the levels that you need to hit to be able to level up. So the visitors just takes time. The entertainment is what we can control. So we need 106 more entertainment if my maths are correct. So let's meet the entertainment level and then just let it be. I'm going to put another chessboard up here, an info booth this way, a restroom this way, and a cafe right here. We only need 2 more entertainment, and what's really cool with these parks is that these wee assets that come with them, like the picnic table and the benches, they actually do bring some entertainment in. So if I just put down a couple assets here, let's maybe do one more bench right over here. That should be enough. Excellent. So we have the entertainment we need, so now we just wait for the visitors to come through, and this park will be level 5. If you like a level 5 park, guys, be sure to leave a thumbs up on the video. Along these same lines, our farming industry over here is also ready to level up again, almost. It's very similar in that it has a passive thing that it needs, so the produced resources, which just takes time, but it also needs a certain amount of workers. On the left here are the number of workers that it needs in order to level up, and on the right is the number of spaces of workers that we have provided. So we've technically provided enough workspace in here for the place to level up. But if we place down some more buildings, it might bring a little bit more encouragement for people to come this way. So let's go to the industries, let's go to farming, and let's place down this medium fruit field right here and a small fruit field right there. We'll make that small fruit field not be a greenhouse. That's a little strange. And yes, let's let that be and see what happens. I also notice that when we look at the info, we are holding a lot of crops. And when we look at our storage buildings, we are also holding a lot of crops, even though they're unbalanced. So you know what? I'm going to put down some more storage right here and here. And I might as well put down another factory, a milking parlor. In order to put down the milking parlor, I'll take a wee road, bring it right here, and put the parlor there. Okay, that should help level out the amount of resources that we are using, and it has plenty of space for people to come and work here. Coming back to our area that we want to zone out, we have had a couple buildings actually abandoned because of this educated workers problem. Again, guys, don't stress when stuff like this happens. Just delete your abandoned buildings with the bulldozer tool. So I just press B to make that happen. That will allow new buildings to come in, and this problem will solve itself over time. We just need to watch this education. Just like that, check out parts 1, 2A, and 2B has leveled up. Again, we've already met the resource requirements, so we just need to get more people to work in here. So let's take a look at what buildings were unlocked. That would be the slaughterhouse. So let's put it over this way. We can also put down a couple more crop fields. And I think we have not put down this farm maintenance building yet. And finally, we did unlock the large barns, which are great for storage. And let's see what that gave us. Okay, that gave us enough capacity for workers. I think we're gonna hit it very quickly. But we do still have quite a big demand for industry or offices. Notice how it says or offices. So here's what I'm going to do with these offices. Right here, we have this all being commercial and all producing quite a bit of noise. If we go to our noise pollution tab, see it's very red. Commercial produces noise. And these residential buildings are probably going to get a little bit cranky about it. What the great thing is that office buildings are a nice barrier for noise. So if we put some office buildings in here, they will grow in and they will block some of the noise between these commercial buildings and these residential buildings up here. I am also going to draw a path between this road and this, as well as down here, just to help the people that live in these high density buildings get to work in these other buildings. In fact, there's a few places I could draw paths in here. Let me get those down. Guys, our farming leveled up to level 5. That's very exciting. Now that it is at level 5, it will not go back down to any lower level. Let's see what we unlocked with that. We unlocked the large animal pasture, the large crop field, and the large fruit field. We might as well take advantage of these and put them down. And there's a couple things happening. We are low on water, so we need to put down some more water options. I'm going to pause the game so that it doesn't cause any issues. Currently, we are doing all of our water stuff over here. I'm going to come this way, and I'm actually just going to put down a water tower for our intake, our pumping capacity. The very important thing to take care of is not to put it on any polluted land, which there is a fair bit over here, but we can avoid it easily. I'm going to put it on this side of the solar updraft tower. I'll connect it to our water lines. That'll be fine. And then sewage treatment. I'm going to use this bigger water treatment plant and plunk it in right here. And that should cover us for a good while. Let's unpause and let it hook up. Perfect. While I'm over here, I really feel bad that I've got our campus area being all polluted and purple and gross. I'm going to try something. I'm going to set this landfill site to empty. We have a recycling center that's being used. Let's put down another one. I'm hoping that the difference between this 25 pollution and this 100 pollution is visible. We'll see what happens. I really don't like the way pollution looks in the vanilla game. It's sort of tough to deal with, but let's move on. We are still struggling with educated workers over here. So let's look at our school capacity. It's down again. I'm very impressed with how many people are going to school in our city. I'm going to put an elementary school down here to help cover this area. And I'm going to put a high school up here to help coverage up here. I know that I mentioned I don't really care about the green roads and the area of coverage per se with the schooling, but if we're putting more down anyways, we might as well spread them around as effectively as possible. And we can see that has helped our capacity a fair bit. So let's continue to zone. One tip I think I never gave for the industry area was placing down warehouses. So stay with me here. I'm going to put one there because it fits. And then I'm going to put down 2 of these guys because they fit. You know how in your industry you are taking raw crops out of the ground and you're either turning it into flour or animal products or whatever the other industry's line looks like? Well, these storage buildings that come with the industry only store that raw material, which with farming is crops. It's a good idea to have something storing the materials that the crops are being turned into as well. So we will store animal products here and we will store flour here. What this does by storing these items somewhere is it means that there's kind of always a demand for the item either in the warehouse or wherever they are being sold, which is usually out here in the world. Having there always be a demand for it means that it's consistently being produced and there's consistently goods to sell. Having a lot of storage for your industry is just a good buffer and good practice. Oh my goodness, guys, I forgot to mention we hit big city, which was what we were going for. I've been so wrapped up in expanding, which can happen to you, which is a great reminder to slow down, take it easy, play the game as the demand comes. But we hit big city, so what do we need to do when we hit a milestone? We take a look at what we got with the milestone. So a new area is nice to have in our pocket. Some policies, some campus stuff, don't care. Here we go. the crematorium. I've already placed these buildings because I forgot to talk about the milestone. So here we are. The brand new item here is the crematorium. We have not previously been able to process dead bodies. That's important. Now here's a really tough comparison to make because it sounds sort of harsh. Similar to the way that you have dumps for raw garbage and recycling centers or incineration plants to process that garbage, death care works the same way. You have the graveyards for the raw bodies, and you have crematoriums to process those bodies and cremate them to make space in the graveyards. So we'll just put down one crematorium for now because we're okay for death care. And let's put it fairly central, but definitely not on this main 6-lane road. So fairly central for us right now is right about here. It doesn't have any noise pollution or pollution, so it's safe just to plunk it down, and that will start helping deal with deceased Sims. So now we have used the items that we got from Big City, and really we just need to continue doing the zoning until we reach Grand City, which won't take long at all. And guys, I'm gonna be straightforward with you. I just peeked at all of these next milestones, and there's nothing really in the next milestones that is absolutely vital that you put down. So if you wanted to, from here, you could just play the game just by putting down the buildings that you already know how to use and following the demands of the city all the way up until Megalopolis. So here's what we are going to do. I'm going to purchase 2 new tiles with you and explain why. This tile I'm going to purchase like this, and it's because I want to expand this residential over this way. This will all be residential and a little bit of commercial, maybe some offices, but I specifically would like this train track and to have another connection off of the highway. And then I'm also going to purchase this tile up here. And my reasoning for this tile is because I want to have, again, another connection off the highway, probably down here though. But I would like this train track and this area for some forestry industry because we have quite a bit of need for industry and offices. Let me zone some more residential down here and get some infrastructure layout for these 2 areas, and then we will continue. Let's do this first bit together though. I'm just going to show you how I will come off of this highway, and I have plans for this road right here. So coming off of this highway is just going to include deleting kind of as big of an area as I can. We will have to delete some of this train track as well, but we will put it back in place. Going to our intersections tab in the road menu, grabbing a 3-way intersection because we certainly don't need to come off that way. Plunking it down really where we can. Connecting the highways up. Again, this will not look beautiful. And then we need to come from this interchange onto this road is the plan. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to upgrade this road to the 6-lane road. So it's now that big first step in our road hierarchy. There is a small amount zoned on it. We're gonna leave it like that for now until we have an issue. We won't make it an issue. Come out this way and connect our highway to it. Done. So now we need to put this train track back in, but here's the thing with trains. When you go to your transport menu and the trains tab, you can't use the train track until you have already put down a train station. The solution is to put down a train station and then delete it. You lose a small amount of money. I think it's worth it. And we're just gonna go underground with this train track. Maybe, again, not the most realistic thing in the world, but we're not super fussed about that. We just want a functioning city. So that train track is back up and running. We will use this train track soon. That's how I've dealt with that interchange. Okay, let me do this some more. Okay, that was a lot of work. We did a lot there. The first thing that we're going to tackle is this demand for industry and offices. And because we're already struggling with the education of our workers, we're going to go with the lower education option, which is the industry. So down here, let's make a forestry industry. We're just going to do this, make it really ugly, and let's name this a preemptive congrats on hitting Megalopolis. That's how you spell that, right? And I won't go into big details about how to get the industry up and running. I'm just going to place down the buildings. If you are looking for those details on how to make this happen, go check out part 2B. It is where we do a little bit more of a deep dive into the Industries DLC. For now, let's just get some buildings down. We've got a sawmill here. Let's put it over this way. And immediately I am remembering that I forgot, of course I did, about water. So I will get that done as well. Not only did I forget about water, guys, I forgot about electricity. So electricity is just done by grabbing these power lines, grabbing a source of power and bringing it over this way. We might need to do some electrical lines within the industry area as well, at least until it starts to carry over on its own. Let's hope that's enough there. Yep, and then I'll get the water done for all of these areas. Let me explain why I wanted to have the forestry industry up here. One of the easy reasons is, of course, there's a lot of trees up here. The forestry industry will like that. But I also noticed that the train line went this way. And so we are going to put down a cargo train terminal here. Let's build it its own road. I like using these industry roads when I can for industry. It just kind of feels like the right thing to do. I'm just going to put that way. I'm going to do my traffic management, and let's put down this cargo train terminal here. And we will need to connect the train lines to it. Just like so. Again, it doesn't look pretty, but guys, I am not going for prettiness today. And that's how that's going to happen. I like to keep these connections nice and long so that if we have a longer train coming through, it doesn't get stuck. I also like to bring a separate track out for the train station itself so that when a train is coming this way, it can either choose to go into the train station if that's what it wants to do, or if it doesn't, it can just carry on through like a bypass. That helps avoid traffic jams here in the train station. Look at some of this janky vanilla placement. That is awful. The benefit to having the train station up here is that if our farming industry wants to export goods, it just hops over the highway and brings it up here. If we had put the cargo train station way over here on the right, if either of our industries wanted to export via the cargo train, they would have to drive all through the city and cause a whole bunch of traffic. I'm telling you guys, 90% of traffic problems are solved before they start. If you can preemptively think of them with solutions like this, you're going to be golden. I checked in on our campus and it looks like if we fund a research grant, we're definitely going to hit level 2 for the campus when this school year is done. And we've got 1,000 students in here, so we're slowly but surely educating our city. That's wonderful. Let's continue to get some zoning happening. What I wanted to do was take the office zoning and put it in some places around the city that I thought it might be useful to help keep some noise at bay for our residents. Now, offices don't create a lot of traffic either, so I don't feel too bad putting them on a 4-lane road here, as long as we do so fairly sparsely. We can also bring some up here and along this road to help with the noise pollution from the farming. Let's continue to zone some residential as well, keep our population growing, and especially when we can zone it staggered like this, like zone, go do something else, go zone, go do something else. It will really help prevent death waves in the future. Leave a thumbs up, just leveled up to level 5. That's so exciting. It's making us a profit that helps with our weekly profit. I mean, making $38,000 a week isn't too shabby. We might as well place down the level 5 building, which is the trampoline park, and let's just put it right in there. And because I'm not working on making this city beautiful, that's all I'm doing with this park. It is done and dusted. I've put down another high school down here as we are still struggling to get our education happening, but we're getting there. We're absolutely getting there. And our elementary school capacity is just fine. And I want you to see just how much we are exporting. Look at all of these trucks coming in, going to the cargo terminal and exporting the goods. Love to see it. Hey, we reached Grand City. We got a population of 20,000. We really don't have much here, and certainly nothing that is absolutely vital. What I am reminded of is that we do not have any proper transit happening in the city. So as we are waiting on some things to level up and some needs to balance and all that sort of thing, I'm going to walk you through my most basic public transit kind of tutorial. I'm going to show you how I combine metros with the buses. Metros first. I personally take metros and I do a big circle with the metro loop. And when the city gets big enough, I do, let's say, one circle line over here and one circle over here, and I let them join up. So let's do that so that you see what I'm talking about. One thing to remember when placing down your metro stations is that they have a noise pollution, so putting them immediately next to housing is not a great idea. Let's plan out our two loops here. Over here, we're going to have a train station. I'm going to do that probably next. So we'll put down one metro by the train station to help anybody coming into the city. We will put one metro down this way because this noise pollution won't reach the residents nearby, but it's close enough that they can use it. We will put one metro not on this main road. Oh goodness, no. People love to take cars out of their pockets onto the main road, and that's just a shame. We'll put it actually within our commercial area. That makes sense for people to go shopping there. And finally, we will bring it up to the campus area, which is actually where we are going to join our two lines. I just need to find somewhere where I can do so. This area over here is going to be as good as we're going to get. That metro will be for the line that we were just talking about, and this metro will be for another line. So sit tight on that. Let's do this line next. Let's tuck one bit of it right in there. Let's tuck another piece over here. And finally, one up here in our forestry area so that people can get to work. Now, once you see me complete these metro lines, I think you'll understand better what I'm trying to do with this. So I'm just curving around and I'm going to do a giant loop. Because they're all underground, they certainly don't need to be pretty. I wasn't really making anything pretty anyways, as I've said a couple times now. I think I'm just defending myself. But let's bring these around. Good. This one's going to be tricky. This is a weird looking loop, but it's evidence that it will work. Let's start with the easy part. Let's come this way first. And I'll show you what's happening. Do you see that kind of flicker? Metros can come above ground now. And so what it's trying to do here is it's trying to connect to the road, which would bring it above ground, which would delete all of these things. So just pay attention. That's what's happening there. I do all of my metros underground still. You will find what works best for you. Underground, I think, is definitely easier, especially if you don't use a lot of underground roads. This one's going to be tricky as we've got this tile to compete with. I could purchase the other tile, but guys, I am stubborn. And then this area over here might get tough. But we've done it. They don't need to be pretty. They just need to work. It looks so strange. So now to put the lines in, we go all the way around in one circle. Great. And then we do the same thing the other way. Okay, good. And then let's do the same on the other track. And the same way counterclockwise. So that is step one of my public transit ultimate plan. Step two uses buses. We've already put down a bus depot earlier. So now all that we need to do is add some bus lines. And here's the trick. Do you see how these metro stations are on the outsides and they don't really bring anybody in, right? That's what buses are for. So what I like to do is take the bus line and filter into our residential areas from the metro. And you can do a fair number of lines this way. It's going to depend on kind of the budgets that you have available, that sort of thing. But we'll definitely do one more line from here. Let's go from this side, and we're going to bring it up over this way. And keeping with the theme before, I never have my bus lines stop on these main roads, definitely not along these 6-lane roads, and preferably not along the 4-lane roads. And now we will continue to draw these bus lines from as close as possible to the metro, filtering into the areas nearby them. And that is my public transit plan of doom and destruction. 10 out of 10 would ride the bus again. The only other thing to note about this plan is that these two metro lines, being so close to each other, being right across the road from each other, allows our Sims to take, let's say, this metro stop once they come off of the train station that's going to be there very soon, hop over to this metro line, hop off the metro line, over the street to this metro line, and come up to this forestry area. Right here, all via the metro. Connecting two loops like this is a great idea. And then I remember that I did put that metro very close to some housing. So I'm going to de-zone this housing actually, and I'm going to fill it in with office, and that will help the sound be broken. Finally, let's get this passenger train in here. I handle these the exact same way as I handled that cargo train earlier. So put the train station down and connect the train with as long of a track as possible. Here it's not going to be so easy. And give it some power. Our campus leveled up last year, so let's give it another grant. We might get a 4th academic work by chance, but if we want to level up this time as well, we need to up the campus attractiveness. So we just need to put down a couple more campus buildings. We were doing a trade school, and we unlocked a trade school fountain, which is gonna go right here. We would have unlocked the cafeteria as well, which we can put right here. And we unlocked the gymnasium. Before we put it down, I guess I can extend some of these paths, or this path at least, maybe out this way to connect over here. And I will need to expand the campus area. Oh, I had some other plans for this area, didn't I? Well, these things change. And let's put down the gymnasium right here. And finally, the outdoor study. It's a pretty big asset, yes. Right there. And hopefully, we're almost there with the attractiveness. So what we will do is put down a couple more dorms, because we will want them anyways to get more students. And that gives us the attractiveness that we need. And it also ups our capacity just in case we get there in the future. So guys, we need to get to 32,000 people to hit the next milestone. I'm just gonna breeze there. I'll time lapse a little bit of it. I will be working on this forestry industry. I'll be plunking down new services if and when we need them, and just zoning as we go. Another trick I'll show you about the industry areas, if you have the DLC, we've obviously been using the industry DLC over here. Another thing that you can do to really maximize this space, especially if you want to go crazy with your traffic, is we've got it zoned with the industry zone. We can rezone this area on top with the regular zone, and then use the regular industrial specializations, call it a farming area. Say, name it, did you find this tip helpful? And then if we zone industry in here, it will zone in as farming industry. So we're kind of double dipping on the farming land availability over here, which I'm all for. I'll probably end up doing something similar in the forestry area. And we have reached Capital City. That was a whole lot of just zoning and sitting and waiting. With Capital City came some more stuff that we are absolutely 100% going to ignore. We got a new tile to purchase, that's cool. These cargo harbors and harbors are similar to the trains in that people and goods can be transported in and out of the city via them, but we've already got that going on with the trains. Our forestry is leveling up nicely. Our university is also leveling up nicely. And it's time just to do the same thing. Rinse, repeat, expand to 44,000. Let's see what happens. My friends, we have made it to Colossal City. We have 44,000 people living in our city. We have unlocked, again, nothing of special interest for the most basic version of playing the game. So our next goal is 65,000. I think we can do it. And I'll show you briefly what I have done. You would have seen me work away at the forestry industry, just planning down some more forestry stuff, giving it enough job capacity to reach level 5. You would have also seen me zone in this generic industry here to try to give our citizens some low education job types. And I basically just filled in this area with all of the things. I did create a district. Thank you for the kind comments from the last few videos, guys. And I made the offices here the IT specialization. No real reason other than an excuse to say thank you. Let me show you the zoning that I've done. You can kind of see I'm following the rules that I had given. There are a few places where I've zoned on these 4-lane roads, but they're few and far between, and that is what our zoning looks like so far. From here, I am going to expand this way, so why don't we purchase these tiles together? I think I can buy 2. Oh, good. Excellent. So I am now going to expand this way. You know the drill, guys. Just going to follow the needs of the city and build away. are moving right along, guys. We have hit Metropolis, and you guessed it, nothing exciting. We did unlock airports here, and if you are working with tourism and trying to bring people into your city, absolutely throw down an airport. We're not going to, we're doing the bare bones, and let's show you what we've done. This whole side of this highway is new, but I've built this the exact same way that I did all of this. Road hierarchy with the 6-lane road first, into the 4-lane roads, finally into the little 2-way roads. I've got industry kept away from the residents. I have noise pollution managed by mixing commercial and offices, and I am just following the needs down here of the city. Our next and last milestone is Megalopolis, and we just need 15,000 more people to move in. That's no big deal, right? I'm pretty sure we will be able to hit that without having to unlock any other tiles, so I will be working over here to make that happen. And really, I might as well just carry on. My friends, we have a classic death wave happening. Look at all of these death messages. This can be really kind of scary, intimidating to come across. The reason it's happened is because so many of the cemeteries in the city have become full, and I've set them to empty, of course. What I did not do to compensate effectively was set down more cemeteries and or more crematoriums. So I've gone around now and I've set down a whole bunch of crematoriums. It's not going to be an immediate fix. It'll help lessen the problem. And other than that, we're just gonna wait, because look at, we still have 75,000 people in the city and we still have 200 people coming in every week. So we're gonna be just fine. Don't panic when this happens. Cool, calm, collected. Just work your way through it. YouTube, look it, we did it. We hit Megalopolis. We've got 80,000 people living in our completely vanilla city, and we only did the bare basics to get here. Guys, this is so possible. This is so doable. I know you can do it. That's fantastic. We can't click over anymore. This does unlock the bigger airports and the monuments, but you know what? We don't need those either. let's take an overview of our city. There we go. This is what we accomplished in 3-ish parts. We went from 0 population all the way up to 80,000, and we didn't do anything incredibly fancy with it. When we look at the city in this overview, we can really review what we've learned. For the road hierarchy, you can see the highways bringing all the vehicles into the city. You can see the 6-lane roads coming off the highways at each point. And you can see really essentially 0 zoning on all of these 6-lane roads. And once in a very blue moon, a service put down on them. Then from the 6-lane roads go these 4-lane roads, which do sometimes have some zoning, but it's sparse. And from the 4-lane roads are the normal 2-lane roads where we do all of our zoning and most of our services, parks, that sort of thing. We've kept the industry away from the residential everywhere so that it doesn't pollute our citizens' homes. And for the most part, we have kept all of the industry near the cargo train and near the highways so that it has an easy access to export. A small exception being down here. I did this at the end just because I really needed to satisfy the industry need. And my hope is that this industry will feed some of the commercial rather than exporting it, and it doesn't seem to be causing too much traffic, so we should be okay. We can also look at our public transit and see what we've done with it. I did eventually bring a train over here and do just 1 train line back and forth. When I checked, it was getting about 80 passengers a week. That's fine. And you can see our metro loops. I did put a 3rd one in, and you can just barely see the blue bus lines taking people from where the metro stop is and filtering them into these little suburbs. On a similar note, let's check out traffic. Okay, 84% traffic on vanilla without focusing hard on it. I'm fine with that. You can see where the hot spots are, and we could do a whole episode tackling traffic in the city and trying to get it above 90. The one other traffic tip that I gave was taking all of your traffic lights out and putting the stop signs in, allowing the through traffic to, well, carry on through. And you can see I've done that pretty well everywhere in the city. Everywhere that I noticed it anyways, I took out the traffic lights and I put the stop sign on the appropriate roads. For our services, you will see that mostly I've kept the roads green. Garbage, I keep the roads green. Healthcare and death care, I keep the roads green. Fire, police, roads are all green. And then education, I have just tried to keep the availability into the green. At the end, I definitely could put down some more elementary schools and high schools. And I was tempted near the end also to put down one of these universities over here. I think if I continued to play this save, I would probably either build another campus university over this way, or I would plunk down a university building probably up here. Parks, we've done pretty well at keeping most of our buildings blue and happy. Again, if I was continuing the save, I would probably spend some time to place down some parks down here and get every building blue to help them level up. One thing to note is that we did not use a single unique building for this playthrough. If you are following along, please feel free to put these down, read what they do, read about their entertainment value, and just watch the noise pollution. But I wanted to demonstrate that this can be done with the absolute bare basics, and I think we've been pretty successful with that. We are ending this series making almost $42,000 a week, and overall we've just done really well. Well, that is the end of my Cities Skylines for Dummies series. Please do let me know something that you learned in the comments below. That will really help me with future content and what else I can do for you guys. If you want Cities Skylines stuff explained to you simply, please do subscribe to the channel. I've got a lot of tutorials on the way, a lot of ideas, big plans, big plans. Of course, if the video was helpful, a thumbs up would be great. And just overall, thank you guys so much for sticking with me through this series. It's been a lot of fun to do. If you have other Cities Skylines questions, come join us in Discord. The link will be in the description below. At me, beep me if you want to reach me, and I will help you out. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. I will catch you next time.